If you're trying to beat a narcissist to an argument, stop. You're probably doing exactly what they want. You think if you explain yourself one more time, if you stayed calm one more time, or if you probably use the right words, they will understand. They won't, because it was never about finding out the truth. It was honestly about getting you emotionally trapped. So the moment you stopped fighting, that's the moment you get your power back. Let me tell you what to do instead. Have you ever walked away from an argument thinking, how did we even get here? You started with a simple issue, and by the end, you're apologizing for something you didn't do, defending your character and questioning your own memory. If you've experienced that, this video is for you. I need you to hear this. Stop trying to win the fight, because you're fighting a battle that was never designed to have a fair winner. When you're dealing with someone who has a strong narcissistic trait, arguments are not about understanding each other. They're about control. They're about keeping you emotionally engaged. And they're about ensuring that the attention is on them. And the more you fight, the more exhausted you become. Not because you're weak, but because you've been playing a game where the rules change every minute. 1 minute, they are denying what they said. And the next minute, they are bringing up something that happened 5 years ago. And then suddenly you're the problem. Suddenly you're the emotional one. Suddenly you are too sensitive. Suddenly you're starting to bring up issue. You're always bringing up drama. And before you know it, you've forgotten what the original conversation was all about. If that sounds familiar, I want you to stop asking yourself, how do I make them understand? Instead, ask yourself, why am I trying so hard to be understood by someone who keeps choosing not to understand me? That question changes everything. And here's something I wish more people knew. Not every disagreement deserves your energy. Some people are not looking for peace. They are looking for a reaction. Every tear, every raised voice, every long explanation tells them one thing. I still have access to your emotions. That's why explaining yourself over and over rarely changes anything. You're giving information to someone who have already decided not to listen to you. Think about how many times you've carefully chosen your words. You stayed calm, you explained yourself clearly, and you even apologized just to end the argument. Did it fix anything? Or did the next fight happen exactly the same way? That's because it's usually not about your communication, but it's about them benefiting from keeping you confused. So, what should you do instead? First thing, stop trying to prove your reality. You know what happened. You do not need permission to believe your own experience. When someone keeps telling you that your memories are wrong, your feelings are wrong, your intentions are wrong, eventually you start doubting yourself. That's exactly why holding on to your own truth matters. You don't have to convince them. You just have to stop abandoning yourself. Second, learn the power of saying less. That doesn't mean becoming cold. It means becoming intentional. Most times, not every accusation deserves a response. Not every insult deserves a defense. And the most strongest sentence is, I've heard what you said. And then silence. Silence isn't a weakness. Silence is a boundary. It tells the other person you don't get unlimited access to your emotions anymore. Third, Pay attention to pattern, not promises. People can say beautiful things after hurting you. They can cry, they can apologize, they can promise they'll never do it again. Words are easy. Patterns tell the truth. If someone keeps repeating the same behavior after every apology, believe the pattern, not the speech. Fourth, protect your peace before you protect the relationship. I know that's hard, especially if this person is a partner, a parent, a sibling, or someone you've loved for years. But if saving the relationship always requires sacrificing your mental health, please pause and ask yourself this question. Who is saving you? You matter too. Your peace matters too. Your emotional safety matters too. And finally, stop expecting closure from the person who created the confusion. Sometimes closure doesn't come from just one final conversation. Sometimes closure comes from you realizing that you've seen enough. You stop waiting for the apology. You stop waiting for them to suddenly become that person you've been hoping them to become. And you start choosing yourself. That doesn't mean you hate them. It means you've stopped fighting over that version of the relationship that only exists in your imagination. If you're watching this today, maybe you've been carrying conversations in your head for months, or maybe you're still trying to think of the perfect words that will finally make them understand. I want to gently tell you something. The perfect words probably do not exist because the problem was never your ability to explain. It was their willingness to hear you. You deserve a relationship where you don't have to present evidence to prove your feelings, where disagreement don't leave you questioning your sanity, and where love doesn't feel like emotional survival. So, don't fight a narcissist. Fight for your peace. Fight for your confidence. Fight for that version of yourself that existed before someone convinced you that everything was your fault. Because that person is still there and they deserve to come back. If this message spoke to you, let me know in the comments. What's that one lesson you learned from trying to argue with someone who always had to be right? Your story might be what someone needs to hear today. And if you want more honest conversation about healing, emotional manipulation, and finding yourself again, subscribe and join me here every week. You're not alone. Your peace is worth protecting.